Welcome to the worst gun in shooter history. This is going to be a shorter, simpler episode because we're going after a Call of Duty gun and these are just simpler weapons. This is the weapon that I personally believe is the worst gun in COD World War II. It is the one I have the least amount of fun using, and when I went into the game to take all the attachments off of it and again equip nothing that affects the performance of the gun, oh man, this thing on its own was probably one of the worst things I've ever used. We are of course talking about the FG42. The one slight alteration I did use for the gameplay here was a variant that gets me more XP, but the only real aesthetic change doesn't really affect the gun. So you guys know how the series works. I go in, I make the guns naked, and then I just look at them as they are. I make a list of negative attributes and list them off to you, and then I give you at least one positive upside of the gun. So it's usually a staple in this series, so we all know it's coming. The iron sights are terrible on this gun. You can tell that by the gameplay. I haven't seen one variant of this gun that has decent iron sights. If you guys know of one, let me know. It also has a horrible rate of fire at around 400 rounds per minute. In fact, I just double checked and it's 423 rounds per minute. It also has 50 milliseconds more sprint out time than most other guns in the game. Only 50 milliseconds more, but that can still be a help in a lot of situations. The only other gun that has that is the Volk. So bad iron sights, horrible rate of fire, 50 milliseconds higher sprint out time, and now we have a problem with the magazine. This is a problem we had with our last gun that we did, the U-100 MK5 in Battlefield 4, which was also a gun with terrible iron sights, low rate of fire, and this problem is the magazine. The magazine on this gun needs to be higher, because if I'm going to be pushing out bullets at 423 rounds per minute, at least give me more rounds to do this with. This is not a gunfight winner, okay? It would not break this gun to give me more bullets. I shouldn't have to take up a whole attachment slot just to get a decent amount of ammunition. I also should point out about the rate of fire, I forgot to mention this. The rate of fire only goes up to 450, so only 27 rounds more per minute. There are so many other weapons in this category that are useful. The M1 Garand and M1 Carbine, the STG, the BAR, the Johnson rifle, the Top Gun. I always forget its name in the game, but it's the Johnson rifle, the starting rifle. The Volk is amazing, and I guess this is going to be the main point of this video, is to say Sledgehammer keeps adding new guns into COD World War II, and with every new addition, there's one less reason to use the FG42. Sledgehammer is piling guns into this game with a mentality that more equals better, even though most of the weapons aren't that interesting to use, and some of them are very hard to acquire. It's just very frustrating because every gun they add makes the worst guns even worse, because the FG42 was bad enough after they nerfed it, but well, now with the Volk being in the game, like, there's even one less reason to use the gun, and even the worst SMGs, I think, are better for one-on-one engagements than this FG42. I mean, no joke. Good luck winning any 1v1 engagements with this gun against good opponents. If somebody starts shooting at you and you start shooting at them, you know, just of a matter of seconds in between who starts shooting first, you're gonna have a bad time unless they're using this gun. Low rate of fire, small magazine, terrible iron sights, 50 more millisecond sprint out time. This is a camper's weapon, you might be thinking, and it does have pretty good damage. A 3 to 4 shot kill isn't terrible, but with this rate of fire, yes, it potentially can kill people very quickly and accurately because this gun has very little recoil, only if they're holding still, only if they're unaware, and that is just not a game I want to play with Call of Duty. I don't want to play a, if the opponent isn't trying to kill me, this is a great gun kind of game. Now ideally I could put a suppressor on this, I can't, but I could put a suppressor on it and then at least maybe treat it as a stealthy flanking weapon or a stealthy camping weapon, but nope, every time I fire I'm going to be on the mini-map, so holding a single position with this gun for too long is kind of a death sentence, because if they push you, you are at an immediate disadvantage. So you might say it has good damage and low recoil, and sure, that's fine, but if they're coming at you and not shooting you, they're just kind of running towards you or holding still or unaware of your presence, then the gun is good. Other than that, it is terrible in actually dueling people, which you're going to be doing a lot of in Call of Duty games. If this gun was in Battlefield, I would still think it's terrible, but at least in Battlefield, you have the ability to move around and flank people, and you have a wider range of motion. You can put a suppressor on most things, and so it makes it useful, whereas in this, I don't see a use in using it. That's, I think, my biggest issue. I do not see the purpose of the FG42. What role does it fill? You could say it's for the stationary long-range player, but why not just use an LMG? Because there's LMGs that are better at longer ranges and are good at close range because they have a decent rate of fire, allowing you to win skirmishes against people that are already shooting at you. Also, just in the rifle category, the M1 Garand, the STG, and the BAR are much better, and the Gravaire, and the M1 Carbine. You might argue that they don't have the same consistent rate of fire as the FG42, but who honestly cares? A consistent rate of fire and low recoil is a pretty hefty thing to trade all of your versatility for. Now, maybe on maps like Gustav Cannon, the FG42 might have more of a role if you put a sight on it, a grip on it, an extended mag on it, and kind of played more conservatively. I can see that working. But that's, again, Call of Duty isn't like Battlefield where every map kind of gives you a lot of places and ways to play. Call of Duty doesn't. It doesn't fit into the meta of Call of Duty World War II. It just doesn't. So the accuracy and OK damage are great. You know, I like the fact that you can get a 3-shot kill with it. If you couldn't, it would be the worst gun in COD history. But I can't recommend it for that. Again, maybe on the largest maps, you know, with a conservative play style when you're not too worried about doing well or getting high kill counts. Yeah, I would say use any other gun but this. I would even use the Orso, or the Orso, whatever stupid little SMG they add. I can't even keep track of all the guns they've added. Just use anything else, fuck it. The FG42 is the worst gun in COD World War II. You guys can try to change my mind in the comment section below, but really, this is one of the worst weapons I've ever used. Any other guns you want me to check out in other games, including this one, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.